Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. In this morning's Celtic news, are Celtic about to break a transfer record, a Scottish transfer record? Currently, Celtic hold the Scottish transfer record between clubs for a player, Scott Brown, back in 2007. Such a long time ago, Celtic played 4.4 million to Hibs to land the one and only Bruni, who went on to have a fantastic career at Celtic and win 9 in a row. The second time that Celtic won 9 in a row in its illustrious history. And yes, Celtic are about to splash out money again. We all know that Brendan Rodgers wants to improve the team in January, but is the Aberdeen hitman Bojan Miovski the player that we really need at Celtic? I'm going to give you a reason why I think Aberdeen will sell their main striker from North Macedonia. And Macedonia is actually a place in Glenrothes and Fife. It's a little precinct. Yes, it has a nice little place. Anyway, we move on. Celtic look to make an offer over 4.5 million. When you look at his transfer valuation, it is only valued at around about 2 million, but it is on a contract until 2026. He joined Aberdeen on the 1st of July 2022. He has scored, he's kind of a bit of goal scoring form for Aberdeen. But when you look at the league table, Celtic are obviously top of the league, looking down on the Rangers, 15 games played and 39 points on the table. When we look at Aberdeen, and this is why I think Aberdeen might just sell their prize asset. Aberdeen are sitting in 10th, they're sitting on 13 points, they're only 3 points off bottom spot. Now, if I was an Aberdeen owner and you're going to get in 4.5 million just for argument's sake, that would then allow Aberdeen to go out and buy at least another 4 players. They could go out and buy 4 players at 1 million each to improve their team and improve their squad and help get them up the bottom of the table for the second half of the season. Is that a risk worth taking for Aberdeen? I think personally Barry Robson's under a lot of pressure. He done fantastically well last season to come from way behind Hearts to finish third in the league. They're now sitting third bottom. Aberdeen owner has said that they will not be easy to deal with when it comes to selling their prize asset. But I think an offer of 4.5 million would be a fantastic offer for Celtic to get the player in. If we really, really want him, I would suggest that Celtic go in right at the beginning of the transfer window, get the deal done and dusted as early as possible, so then it allows Aberdeen to then take that money and reinvest it so that they can move further up the table before it sort of gets down to crunch time and before the split anyway. But tell me what you think about it in the comments. It seems to be it has a story. I was asked about this a couple of nights ago, but it is a story that seems to be gathering a bit of pace. Will Celtic break that Scottish transfer record? It has been suggested that the team from across the city are also after him, but they don't have the money. With Aberdeen sitting 10th in the league, it is a no-brainer for them. Miovski is a bargain signing for them. They bought him for £535,000 from the Hungarian side. So tell me what you think about that in the comments. He is a bit of a goal scorer. Southampton have also been linked with him, as well as a number of clubs. But let's face it, when Celtic come knocking to a player that's playing at Aberdeen, of course, he's going to sign for Celtic rather than go down south. He wants to come to Celtic and win things and do something. And he has scored in Europe also for Aberdeen, which is interesting. So tell me what you think about that in the comments. Celtic look set to table a bid. There's lots of publications covering the story this morning. He's notched up 11 goals already this season, which to me says that he's better than the one and only O. Will he play behind Kyogo? You've got to remember, O and Kyogo will be missing from Celtic in January and February due to the Asia Cup, so we will be missing some players. Is it good to go and buy the guy from Aberdeen? Well, let's face it, Aberdeen are down at the bottom of the table. From a financial point of view, I would say it would make sense for Aberdeen. They might think, look, we need him to score goals to help us get back up the table, but look at the league, doesn't lie. The league position does not lie. Aberdeen currently sit in 10th position with only 13 points. It's going to be really hard for them to move up that table. They're going to have to beat everyone above them convincingly over the next couple of weeks to try and get back up to at least 5th in the table. Can they do it? not in the current form that they're in. Anyway, let's move on from that. The Celtic squad has been revealed this morning, and we all know the squad because it's the same squad as always. But Brendan Rodgers could change things tonight for the visit of Hibernian to Celtic Park. The halftime rocket, the halftime abuse that he gave the players, the halftime shouting that he gave the players on Sunday certainly worked up in Perth. But Brendan Rodgers admitted it's the angriest he's ever been. Whilst he's been in management. Callum McGregor, Matt O'Reilly, and James Forrest rectified that situation. They scored the goals. But when you look at the squad, and I'm going to admit that I think I might change my mind from the squad from last night because everyone was going for the same thing. I did go for Taylor, Scales, Carter Vickers, Johnson, McGregor, O'Reilly, Mikey Johnson, Forrest is a team that I might think might come out now. They'll give Palmer that little bit of a rest. And the reason I'm thinking about that is in just over a week's time, we do have another game in Europe still to play. So maybe the manager will change the front players slightly just to give them that little bit of a respite so that he knows that they are fresh. It's all about managing the players at this time of the season. So the team that I think might go out will be Taylor, Scales, Carter, Vickers, Johnson. It's a back four that will never be changed just now because there's no one good enough at Celtic to come in and replace Taylor. Will Celtic get a new left back in the next window? Well, here's hoping because let's face it, Taylor has not been up to much this season. Captain Callum McGregor will sit in that further forward position with Matt O'Reilly, and Awata will probably just sit just behind him, clearing up anything in midfield. And then I think Forrest and Johnson might get a run out. Both definitely are fantastic players for Celtic. Forrest, we all know about him. He's been doing it for 15 years. And it's amazing to think that James Forrest is still such an important player to Celtic this late on in his career. And then we're going to have Kyogo up front. And like I said, I think the reason that we might change it is we do have a lot of important games coming up. So changing the squad around at this time of the season, just before we hit the really busy Christmas spell, I think is ideal. And I think Brendan Rodgers might just do that. Tell me what you think in the comments. Remember, we need to win against Feyenoord and it's time to restore some credibility back in Europe. Now, with the transfer market just around the window and everyone shouting out for a brand new goalkeeper, Joe Hart goes into the last 6 months of his Celtic contract. I have been saying since the start of the season, I've been hearing things that Joe Hart wants to go to America and finish out his career in America. Hence the reason that Celtic have not offered him a new contract. But it is imperative that Celtic get in a good goalkeeper of any standard. Will Celtic and Brendan Rodgers come out and say, yes, I'm in the market for a new keeper? I don't think he will. I think if he was to do that, fans would go into complete meltdown. And what would it do to Joe Hart's confidence? Because let's face it, when you see Joe Hart jumping about the box the way that he does, it doesn't inspire us with confidence sometimes. Although he did pull off a fantastic save at the weekend. It'll be interesting to see what Celtic do in the transfer window. I'm sure the transfer speculation will ramp up in the next couple of weeks. So anyway, just remember to do one thing and do what Tomo tells you.
Aye, subscribe to One Celtic Fans View. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail. See you later.
All right, thanks a lot.
See you later, Tomo.